Vosh, remember, it's only 3 cherry-picked pages. Yeah, which, I don't know the circumstances under which that was leaked to Steven Crowder, but the fact that this is what they chose to show, not very indicative, huh? Really makes you feel like there's nothing in there about being trans. Bottling Sunshine, this is from the note. This is leaked pages from the notebook of the Covenant shooter, the trans guy who shot some kids at that Christian school in Nashville a while ago. The conservatives have been begging and praying that this is like finally an example of a mass shooting done by like some crazy left-leaning trans person, because they know like every like
It's got to be
50
Antifa.
shootings a year or whatever are done by
Antifa's
their
the
guys,
worst,
so they want it
right?
to be shoes on the other foot for once. And they finally released these pages.
We just
and
know
it's like, it's
Antifa's
nothing.
bad,
It's like,
so
oh,
it's
they're mentally
gotta
ill.
be
Like, yeah,
Antifa behind
obviously,
everything.
They did a school shooting. People don't do school shootings if they're mentally well. Vosh, not all mentally ill. Please, we get way too many hate and healthy people with what? I'm not saying all mentally ill people want to shoot up schools. I'm just saying that if you want to shoot up a school, there's a decent chance you're mentally ill. Like, there's probably a correlation there. I'm
Yes.
willing to bet, because girls are born with incredible handwriting. Oh yeah, true. This is very gender affirming, because this was a trans guy, and girls have better handwriting than guys. So that would explain why this looks like shit. You did say that. Please do not hide from your statements. I said all mentally ill people shoot up schools. God damn, I do misspeak a lot, I guess.
So many trolls.
It's funny because it
So many
shatters their
trolls.
narrative that it was a trans shooter attack on Christians, and yeah, their big narrative was like, this is a trans person killing Christians because trans people like to kill Christians or whatever. And then in the first no mention of them being trans, and also they mention like, may God God let my wrath take over my anxiety, which kind of makes it sound like he was Christian. Vosh said, "You're all mentally ill," in response to, "We have handwriting that looks like that." You guys are in VGG chat. Of course you're mentally ill. Get the off my case. Jesus Christ. This would be a great springboard for properly funding mental health. No. When conservatives talk about like, oh, it's not a gun issue, it's a mental health issue. For what it's worth, for the most part, I agree with them. Mostly as a matter of political expediency. There are things we can do to address the severe climate of mental health crisis in this country, whereas dealing with the overabundance of firearms is like a biblically difficult task. We have...
Right. So the reason I wanted to make this quick video of showing Vosh talk about this and his troll commentary, the chat, man, if I ever got popular enough to do a stream and have chat, I don't think I would handle it as calmly or as well as him. I would be booting you off. But the conservative, or the knee-jerk conservative reaction to a shooter, particularly if it's a conservative Christian shooter, is, oh, it's a mental health problem. It's not guns. It's a mental health problem. And the thing I want to call out is the obvious bullshit to that on their part. They don't care whether it's a mental health issue or not. They're just trying to say it's not the guns. We like our guns, and we think conservatives murdering people generally is something we're on board with. If it's Antifa, if it's a trans person shooting people, well, then that's terrible and that's a problem. We need to see they're all violent. We knew it, even though like 1 out of 1,000 is not a conservative shooter. Most shooters, most people losing their shit and murdering innocent people around them are conservatives. It's just the news, just the facts. But the point of this video is that I want to suggest that when someone ever says, and I'll say it too, it's a mental health issue, that maybe we're not talking about doctors needing more doctors or needing more drugs or needing more psychiatrists. The fact that it's a mental health issue, the fact that it's our minds snapping and choosing violence, random violence, a delusional violence, a non-logical, because if you're really upset by policy, if you're really upset by someone making a law or unfair laws or unjust money distribution, things like that, you're not going to go down to the grocery store and murder black people, or if that's your target, or just murder people in general, or pick a ethnic demographic. You're picking the ethnic demographic, or you're picking your demographic because your brain isn't working, and because the propaganda of corporate conservative capitalistic propaganda has worked on you, and they've convinced you that it's the poor person on welfare that's the problem, and not the wealthy money hoarders at the top diving into their bins of gold like Scrooge McDuck. So the mental health problem is a problem of primates trying to exist in a system that is killing us. We have created capitalism. Without humans, there is no capitalism. If it was another creature other than a primate, we might not be so hierarchical, and we might not be so aggressively, selfishly aware of fairness. Because fairness isn't for primates at least, isn't I want you to be absolutely fair because of my compassion for you. That's not how our fairness is wired into the brain of a primate. We want fairness to make sure we get ours and you don't get too much. It's a selfish fairness. So that's something to remember as far as the way primate mentality goes, how our evolved brain, how our brain evolved to try and keep within our tribe a sense of fairness. It's not a compassion, I want you to have it because I love you so much. It's, I want to make sure you have, that I get my fair share and you don't get more than my fair share. That's the fairness. And when we live in a society with capitalism and billionaires and corporate AI non-entities grinding people up in a sociopathic plot to rake in all the profits, because it's not a logical thing. It's a gamified nightmare propaganda on wealth hoarding. So mental health. I'm rambling. Just woke up. Yes, you can say it's a mental health problem, but it's not a mental health problem that you're going to be able to solve with $100 an hour psychiatrists. It's not a mental health problem where you can just prescribe some medication and make it go away. The mental health problem is causing drug abuse because of the discomfort and disassociation of a primate brain in a clearly non-primate society, or at least not a million years ago evolved brain primate society. And we're struggling, and with the internet and all the information that we're getting and trying to process all that, people are snapping, and that's the mental health issue. It is a mental health issue, but it's not a mental health issue that doctors are going to fix. This is a mental health issue that society needs to correct, if we even care to, and it's clear that we don't. Especially in America, it's clear that we were deciding to throw bullets on the fire and full steam ahead, buying into the conservative propaganda, and that's just the way it is. So every time I hear somebody, my point was every time I hear somebody say, it's a mental health issue, in my head I'm always going, okay, so what are the doctors supposed to do about end-stage capitalism? Man, good luck with that. Peace.